Tell you what's happening. There's a very topical spam happening as Alone and Kara are just constantly spamming Seb lines.
There you go.
So
Win together, lose together,
in my ear
slay
right
together. Reading us a sonnet. But Parker is in today. In the client, Mr. No Name, that is confirmed to be Parker. And the man that we've been pretty hard, at least I think Theban and I perhaps disproportionately hard on throughout this season. Well, he stepped up a little bit. Parker's looked definitely more solid in these last couple series, specifically in versus the team that has impressed us 4-2. I don't know how they got there, but let's see if they can take it to EGOBOYS. Who's the favorite here? Do we have a favorite? Anybody want to take a bold claim? Anybody want to call a 2-0?
Obviously, Inverse. Obviously.
Okay.
These guys are grinders. These guys came from the bottom of the bottom. They know no barriers. They have, these guys, they're not going to be like, okay, I mean, we're already out. We're not going to get relegated. We're fine. No. These guys, they are the real hustlers, and I don't expect anything but an easy 2-0 from Inverse.
Well, Bowie, are you aware that Rises is the only player in this division from Uruguay, and he's here representing his country by himself?
Yes.
Wow. I am aware. That's going to motivate him to win.
Wow. Actually, in lower division, Rises is the only Uruguayan player, and Moonlight is the only player from Chile. Interesting. Yep. Moonlight not playing today, obviously, but man, a lot of country representation in South America.
Yeah.
Early Wraith King pick, though, Inverse. Again, we've seen this formula a couple of times. These fourth pick position ones, generally like the Juggernaut. But today it's Wraith King. What's going on here?
It's the classic Parker, He loves the king.
Classic Parker.
I think it's good versus AA.
Yeah, you have that second
AA
life.
is like the one shot,
Even Tiny, if it's a core, he usually likes to kill those trolls, those PAs, but Wraith King is a little bit different.
Slaw has cracked the code, though, Bowie. He's like, all right, Parker, I've noticed some trends. You really suck at certain heroes, and you're really good at other heroes. So I'm just going to first pick your hero, and we're good. All right.
I misclicked Wraith King. Nuts.
Damn it.
Thanks, guys.
Parker?
Thanks
Can you play? By the way, guys, if you're ever, if you ever have time in your hands, Uruguay is a great place. Okay.
Really? It's a country I don't know much about, Bowie.
It actually has a lot of expats. So if English is a problem, I think this is. If not speaking English is a problem, that's probably one of the best SA countries for you to be in. Beautiful beaches, very good restaurants. Their meat, it's pretty close to the Argentinian meat you probably heard of.
Oh,
really? Yeah. Wouldn't recommend less.
My South American geography is not great. I always think Uruguay is up there near like the French Guiana, like kind of next to Venezuela.
Yeah, me too. I
couldn't
always
be
make
more
that
wrong.
mistake, and I have a
It's
degree
south
in geography.
of Paraguay. It's like the bottom part of Brazil. It's next to Argentina. Like Uruguay's right there next to Buenos Aires. That's the capital.
Yeah,
of
there's
Argentina.
a really good you can get this boat that crosses from Argentina to Uruguay. It's really cool.
Shit,
really
they got
cheap.
boats too.
So you can visit both, and it's like a 1 hour boat or something.
From Montevideo.
This is what the SA panel's for, guy. We're promoting tourism. It sounds like a great place to have a land someday with Dota.
Dude, I'm in.
You think? That just makes a lot of sense.
The Lima Major. That'll be a third country.
Bowie, can I come to South America and we'll just do the full tour? We'll do Brazil. We'll swing over to Lima. We'll head over to Argentina. Hang out in Uruguay a little.
You should have to win a pub in a cafe in every country.
Dude.
You might be there for weeks.
That would be a cool vlog.
5 seconds remaining.
All right. Another day in Argentina.
Day 5.
Another day of 400 ping. Dota is challenging. Anyway.
We had, first pick Tidehunter last night from Infamous. Now
dude.
coming up
he
third.
Is rising.
I love that.
Okay, guys. I'm going to give a 55% chance they're going to pick Medusa right now. Rises is playing this every single day in his pubs. And they already have this Tide Boy for the stun. They have, decent burst damage with AA. I think Medusa is in a pretty good spot right now for them.
I like what you're saying, because they got the tiny 2, so that leads to the potential for the mid or the 4 is the last pick. There you go, Sven.
Okay. Now, that is very interesting.
A lot of stunts here, Bowie. I
guess we forgot about the AA, right? It's very rare to see AA in anything but the stun.
Yeah.
True.
And just a lot of
10
good.
seconds
This is great
remaining.
cover for Wraith King, right? You mentioned that Wraith King feels good against AA, but
5
both
seconds
Tiny, Sven,
remaining.
and even Tide, you just park on top of that body, you stun him right away, and I don't know, I think we'll probably see a number of fights where the reincarnation doesn't feel particularly impactful.
Yeah. So what do you get here? What's gonna kite this Van? What's gonna make his life a little bit miserable?
Probably a mid that you want, right? Before it gets
What
banned.
if they Veno? Like,
And
is
now I'm
AA's
literally
Ven
gonna
good
say
enough
that.
against Venomancer? Or do you just die when they stun plus cold feet?
What about a game plan wise? Like, because they have Tide Sven, so they're kind of slow. I mean, you have Wraithkin, but you also have Tusk Grim, so they could play like a faster hero, like faster Roche based heroes, like your TAs and everything.
You know what I would like them to play, but I am pretty sure they will not? Offlane Wind Ranger. You actually have the Wind Ranger
Tusk?
Sven.
Yeah.
Yep, you have Tusk alongside you. I think that would be pretty cool.
That would be cool. Give me
they're
the.
probably
This is
gonna
Arzan,
ogre,
guys.
I
Guys,
don't know.
just saying it. Give me
The
the
Arzan
ogre.
Ogre, the magic
Give me
damage.
the stuns. You got
Yeah, dude.
Grimstroke. Dude, Grimstroke with core ogre is actually a little bit dirty.
Wow. Oh, that's
I-
true.
I
By the way,
think they're
if you
gonna Veno.
multicast one, does it reflect the multicast or only one Fire Blast?
I forget if it's separate dice rolls or if they're the same dice roll. That's
Radiant
that would
a
be
good
like-
question. But either way, Bowie, you're compounding your dice rolls. You're 2xing your
Yes.
your 2x's. It's big numbers. I don't know how to do the math, but I know it's a big number.
All right. So they take the Husker there just in case. I don't mind that. I think they're gonna TA on EGOBOYS, right? Or is this tiny core and then they'll pick a 4? I don't like the idea of last picking or 4, but we'll see.
10 seconds
It could go either
remaining.
way. Tiny 4 looks all right. I'm so used to it being
5
core
seconds
that I've
remaining.
kind of stopped considering him a flex for support in a lot of these drafts,
Oh.
to be honest.
So interesting note that I've discovered. According to, I found a Reddit thread from 2000 from 1 year ago. So thank
Okay.
you to Air Appa who posted this, and the thread was about how Ogre interacts with Grimstroke when you have a Dagon. So if you multicast Dagon now, obviously you can hit multiple targets. But if you multicast Dagon on a soulbind target, so let's say that there's two heroes who are soulbound, and you multicast your Dagon to zap them both, they'll still only get zapped once. It won't reflect the zap because of a very short-lived debuff that's placed from Dagon, and it just essentially cancels out the other short-placed debuff before you take the damage.
Interesting.
So there's a
So-
really tiny mechanic. Thank you for all that testing
basically,
you guys did.
don't go Dagon on Ogre if you have a Grimstroke.
So there's some
Yes.
like caked in like
10
Dagon
seconds
protection to
remaining.
prevent it from being abused to just insta-gib people. That's
5
interesting.
seconds remaining.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of spells like that. It's kind of like the lingering debuff on like Lagunas and stuff, I guess, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, they go Axe.
All right. Didn't quite expect this one. You got the unless it's a 4 Grimstroke, you got this double melee off lane, which can be a little funky, but this is a really good draft around the Grimstroke. Tusk, Wraith King, and Axe very
10
much
seconds
enabled.
remaining.
Mm-hmm.
It can work.
5
Okay.
seconds remaining.
Is there a killer mid here?
Mind it. Now let's see what EGOBOYS does.
What is your
I don't
dream
like
against
the tiny
Invoker?
versus like tanky heroes like Wraith King and Axe as a core at least. So they could TA. Maybe they can.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me. What was our TA and was it Medusa? Was it Morphling? What was our two fast here?
We had TA Luna for
TA
SP
Luna. That's what
one
it was.
game.
Yeah, I knew it was two greedy
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah, they won that game, but
Yeah.
it definitely a little bit hard to execute. Sven pretty similar to Luna in that regard. He just wants to farm the ancients too.
I think maybe Lena just looks good. They don't have a lot of jump, really.
That's weird.
But
I was
Tusk
kind
is
of
carrying
thinking
lane
Lena.
though.
That's true. The lane's a well.
I mean, you could do this Death Prophet. They've got really good team fight for it.
Should they just mid tiny at this point?
I speak for the
Oh.
trees.
Oh, they're bringing it back, baby. Easy game. Easy alone mid nature's prophet. Let's
Wow.
go.
Damn, we should have guessed
Easy.
this. You said you wanted fast. I mean, this fits it to a T, and it's a comfort pick. I like this a lot. The
I was
Tano
thinking fast
Tiny.
for inverse.
Oh.
Before they picked Invoker and Axe. But yeah, I appreciate them speeding up because they already look a little bit slow with Tide and Sven, right? So
Yeah, that's where my brain was at exactly.
well, you were right, my friend. You were right, not I.
Well,
You're
I'm
the
just feeling
genius.
generous today, my friend. No, you're the smart one. Yeah, I think this is probably Ego Boys. I think this Nature's Prophet is going to be really, really strong. We actually haven't seen that much mid Nature's Prophet. It's turned out to be kind of a specialist thing, and Alone is the specialist. So I'm going. I believe.
All right. I think this Axe is going to rush a Manta. And it might look wonky at the start.
Mm-hmm.
But then they're not really going to lose a lot of buildings because this Sven can only push when he has ult. And once this Axe is level 20, Inverse is going to come back and it's going to be beautiful. So I'm going Inverse here.
This reminds me a lot of our game yesterday where we talked about just having way easier spells. I feel like Eagle Boys just have much simpler spells. That being said, I think Flax can win this game on the Tusk. I think he has very heavy potential in the early game for the rotations. There's some really vulnerable heroes, and you can dodge pretty much everything with Snowball this game. So, like, if he just decides to, like, go Nectar God mode, Flax can win this game. But personally, I think Eagle Boys' match looks easier.
Right.
Yes, I would agree there. But both sides, a lot of good team fight, a lot of stuns, expecting a bloody mid game and maybe even an action-packed late game. Only 2 best of 3s today, folks. Buckle in because we're just getting started. Gary, are you ready to cast through the voice lines, my friend? Can you talk and listen at the same time? Because I've been struggling this whole time listening to Seb read me sweet poetry, whispering sweet nothings. Are you going to be able to handle it? How are we feeling about the drafts, Mr. Ride or Die?
They're feeling pretty good, and yeah, there is a Wraith King on one side, and I'm leaning towards Inverse because they've got the King. I've got to show my allegiance to it, and yeah, you're right, there's a lot of OG lines being spammed. Seb's one in particular, slay together, slay together, slay together. Well, we'll see if that continues through the game, but Theban, how you doing? It's a beautiful day for some Dota 2, isn't it?
Yeah. It's always a beautiful day for Dota 2.
Exactly,
you know?
that's the answer I wanted.
Yep. This game itself, I'm feeling pretty confident that we're going to have a good game, at least. Like, I don't think it's going to be a stomp. I know what you were thinking. You were probably thinking I was going one of the 2 ways, but no, I'm not anymore.
No.
This is Division 2. Anything can happen here, Gary. I am not going to, take any horses here. Just going to chill out, watch some nice Dota, analyze the situation, and just live with the result.
Your channel points are chilling. Safely locked away.
Yeah,
not being gambled on anything tonight.
The 2-digit channel points are chilling.
Dear.
Yes.
That's not a good feel. But yeah, Zari made a really great point. Looking at these 2 drafts, there's tons of team fight. Everyone kind of reliant on some kind of ulti cooldown or these spells that are able to be spammed out from your Tusk, your AA, on the other side, the Grimstroke, the Tiny, on the one side for Ego Boys. And these mid-game fights, they're going to be real scrappy and messy in terms of who you're going to be targeting, who you're going to be tossing back into the Ravage, jumping onto with his Snowball and Axe. And Bowie mentioned the Manta-style Axe in this game. Do you reckon that's going to happen?
Possible. Oh, we're going to see a D word here first. It is possible, but I think if you're going with the offlane Axe, you can't really go this Manta build first item. It's like, it could be really game throwy. I mean, you can go the Blink Vanguard Manta, it is possible, but Blamio is an option, especially against a core Nature's Prophet. This hero does a lot of damage to himself. And
a Sven as well, right? Like, if he's got God Strength on.
That's the thing, Warcry kind of mitigates a lot of the strengths, the damage that you take back from the Blamio, because it dishes back the same damage, right? So, it's not as bad. It's not that good against Sven, but against NP, for sure, you're going to want that. Hero does not build a lot of armor items.
Yeah, he's always having to, like, buy an Assault Cuirass or something like that later on into the game. We'll see how it all pans out. We've got that bottom lane rises down there as Ancient Apparition and Tusk head back towards the camp. It's going to get a nice D-ward and the camp block from that Flax Tusk, in fact. Getting rid of the vision from Kara. And Arzan on this Axe down here. He's just trying to drag the wave away from the Sven. Gather up as much CS as he can. Get the battle hunger going. Chip away at the Ancient Apparition. While Tusk is dragging that wave. So important for your Tusk to hit level 2. Having the option for Shards or the Snowball with that tag team just gives you so much kill threat.
Yeah, I guess right now though this lane is looking real hard because Arzen, he's got that battle hunger and he's just trying to wait for Flax to bring this creep wave around. I guess around level 3, that's when you want to go in with this combo. I was even thinking you should just like skip the battle hunger, scale 2 levels in Helix and go Berserker's Call. Because you got that tag team and then you got the snowball, right? You can easily get on top of a hero. So
yeah,
we'll see how they play this lane out. But right now they're playing it very slow, very chill, just trying to secure Axe's lane. And so far Rises, he's looking great. 8-2. Mid 2. Wow, look at Alone. Jeez.
Oh,
Just
man.
absolutely bullying this Invoker. Yeah, this hero can't do much against NP. You got the NP who's got 63 damage with the Blightstone, and then 2 more Treants as well to back him up. And Miggy with his Crosswex Invoker can't really bring those things down.
Yeah, Prophet's like 1.5 heroes, and maybe a couple of those denies are Treants, so it's not as bad as maybe it looks just by the numbers, but the 6 last hits on Invoker definitely not a great position for Miggy to be in. But just back to your
And
Axe
look at this
point,
huge creep wave coming in too. He's just destroying. Oh man. Yeah, go ahead, Axe.
yeah, the Axe point, he's actually maybe in a bit of trouble here. The body blocks under the cold feet. Arzen, yeah, he's snapped into place. Tusk is going to guard the Axe by shoving back towards the AA. He gets a lot of damage on him. Kara has to Fairy Fire. One more hit from Flax before the cold feet. Oh, it doesn't come, so he's able to salve. Flax cancels it in the end, and the battle hunger's out of reach. So now they turn on to Rises a little bit. Very back and forth in that bottom lane. How are we doing for regen on the Radiant? Like, Kara's out. Rises has some tangos. They're going to need to bring out a salve. And yeah, the courier is coming. Stick salve tangos for the AA. Going to try and regen the map back up. But that's a good 30-40 seconds now where Axe and Tusk, they can just keep moving forward aggressively. As top lane looks like Slaw will be able to slip away with a nice Ink Swell. Wraith King landing that stun onto the Tiny, but missing out on the stroke. So Tiny's just going to wander off.
Yep, again, another weak off lane too. Tiny plus Tidehunter. This is not something that you typically see. It's like Tusk ass, Tiny, Tidehunter. People are getting real creative today, it looks like, with the off lane duels.
Oh, Kara. He's gone for that D ward. Dies for it, though.
Has been killed.
Yes,
Nice
he was
bit of
already
money for
low on
Flax.
resources. And he got his courier just then and there too, so very unfortunate. Flax gonna be happy with that. Get his
Super happy,
boots
yeah.
out.
Because that gives
And
him
Tyron
out.
just made like a walk. He went like this, through mid, tried to snipe a courier, and then went all the way around. Oh, he did get the courier. Then he went all the way around here, and then now he TV back top, and he's walking back mid again. What is going on, Tano? What is the plan here?
Feeling a little bit lost, huh? Well, he'll be able to take the water rune. Probably return back up to top. But yeah,
So
a moment.
You're saying something about the axe.
Yeah, exactly.
And then,
We've got,
like, the whole
we
game
don't have a
happened.
moment to stop. No, it's another kill. Axe is dead down bottom lane. Right, now, that concept you brought up about, potentially skipping battle hunger and the whole, normal experience with the Axe regularly goes level 1 battle hunger, and you've got a mana pool that you want to use. It's a very difficult thing to kind of do in game time, right? It's deciding, hey, at level 3, if I have Berserker's Call and level 2 spin, maybe we go for it, or if I get this battle hunger going early on, maybe we chip away at them enough to get that option open to you. As Kara's stuck in these trees, no, they don't have that Berserker's Call. They would have liked to have it here, because Arzen just
he's dead
died.
again.
In comes Alone's Nature's Prophet, looking for the second one with a sprout onto Flax, and they've got the damage to take him down.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, but that's the point. That's the Axe's problem, right? He picks his hero, he looks at the game, he's like, okay, what can I do with this lane partner? And all that stuff should be processed through your mind before the game even starts. So if he doesn't do that, then that's on him. That's a player issue there. Bottom, what happened was this Axe has level 2 battle hunger, so their damage is very slow, and he's actually not doing damage with the spin either. And the Sven just kind of traded. The creeps hit the Axe too. He was spinning, but it just wasn't too much, and he died first. Now he had to walk back to the bottom lane. Safe to conclude that this Sven, he's destroyed this lane bottom.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a bit of a Tombo top. Slaw being body blocked, and Tano's there to kill him off. Salve from Parker gets cancelled. Drakil and Tano very, very low as Kara drops down bottom lane. Finally, a bit of revenge for Arzen. But yeah, the level 2 battle hunger, definitely an unusual idea there from the offlane Axe.
Yeah, and Alone also, helping out earlier. Flax is now level 5. It's got half health here. It's gonna be difficult for Inverse to move around too much. especially on this Invoker. They need to make it real fast. Like, he pushes a wave, and maybe he might have 5 seconds to be able to TP onto a side lane and get a kill before the Nature's Prophet comes back mid to pressure it. So we're gonna see how Miggy is gonna rotate here. He's got the urn, top lane.
Parker. Yeah, before level 6. Tossed back into the anchor smash. Can they finish him off? There's 8 stick charges and 7 seconds for Tano's toss, but he's being hit by the Tornado EMP. Miggy's rotation. He is in here looking for a kill, but he's TP'd up, and now, like you said, that point, right? Mid lane is in a lot of trouble because the Prophet's shoving.
Exactly. That 5-second window, it's closed. Now Miggy has to walk back mid, and look how much damage this tier 1 is just taking right now. Oh, I don't think that was the lane that he wanted to TP to as well. He must have thought Wraithking was in danger, but the opportunity is just gone now.
Yeah, I guess when you carry screaming at you, you're gonna snap into action like, yes sir, coming top.
1,200 damage. That's how this tier 1 tower took Gary.
Without a catapult.
Yes. So you can see like how fragile these movements from Miggy really are. He's got to be very careful with what he does. It looks like he wants to be made. It's like, okay, I guess we have to kill this NP before we leave, but then the NP really isn't showing himself. Alone is just chilling, farming neutrals.
Yeah, especially on that mid lane tower. Like, we always talk about how important it is to make that kind of your bastion of defense. You hold on to it as long as you can. And Nature's Prophet there, he's prepping for a push that won't need much commitment. They could bring in, a +1 on a catapult wave, maybe force Inverse to rotate.
Here's a fast rotation right now. They're going to smoke up as soon as... This is the next window, right? They kill the creep wave middle, goes into NP for a little bit, and now they smoking, and then look at what Alone is doing. He's sending the Treants to the tier 1 past the creeps to see where the Invoker is at. If the Invoker doesn't show up mid, then it's so obvious that they're ganking.
That tower's dead.
Sven just leaves. Yep. Sven leaves.
Yeah.
Kara is just AFK in the trees, and mid tower's dead. They're just getting so outplayed right here.
It's so perfect. Yeah, Ryze, he ditched that bot lane because he has had, like you said, such a good time there. He doesn't necessarily want to stay and play in that lane. Goes and clears out an ancient stack that he made for himself, and they will dive Kara. The ancient apparition stuck down there. They missed the dunk though. First one of the game, not a good sign, but at least they'll get some pressure onto that tower. But you're being forced back on every lane. Mid tower being dropped. Wraith King's been shoved out of the top lane. He's scared on Parker. He does have a point. Yeah, he skills up his reincarnation now. Gets chipped down, and they force a rotation from Miggy yet again. So this is going to be a great signal here that Rises can just swing down to bottom jungle. You know where the Invoker is. Tano probably going to drop. A little bit spooky. The aggressive positioning from the Tiny. But giving up your position 4 here doesn't feel particularly bad. Curious they bring the AA top now. Are they wanting to fight around Ravage still?
Well, they want to pressure top. They want this next tier 1 tower. They've already taken the mid one, right? Alone is always prepared to just teleport in and be that +1 to help with the objective. It's just that, Tano died first, and now you're going to have to reset, wait a bit. Bottom lane, there's also a creep wave there. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Alone just TP bottom first and just kind of stick around there, destroy the creeps. Axe with his Battle Hunger build isn't really going to do too much against this Nature's Prophet. But at some point, their next objective is going to be this top tower for EGOBOYS while the Sven is just farming. He is incredibly farmed. My goodness. Actually, they both are. The Nature's Prophet too. 4.4k, 4.2k, farming Ancients.
I was just wondering because they kind of know that Miggy's TP'd up there, and he's stuck in that top lane, so maybe they could make the most out of the rest of the map and use that area bottom to try and keep that farm going. So I think you make a good point. Prophet could TP down there and keep his actual spell TP to move into that top lane to fight. He doesn't have a TP scroll though.
Yeah, I mean, he can just use his teleportation too. 50 seconds, it's fine. You're going to farm like 2 waves probably bottom. It's going to be a while before the Tiny can revive, walk up to top lane and fight. So what I'm really interested by is Gary in this game. Alone, he's adapted his build into an Orchid. Normally, what's the build that we would see on NP?
The Witchblade.
The Witchblade, right? But when you play against Axe, if you go the Witchblade, now when he calls you, you can't control the Witchblade. It's gonna go off on him. So if you got the Blade Mill as well on the Axe, then you'll die even faster. Now the Orchid can help you Orchid the Axe when he blinks in, or before he blinks in, or just to help out in being a little bit more of that disable in this lineup, utility role.
And I guess, you know, like the panel and we talked about early on, these team fights, there's so many stuns and so many pieces, you know, moving pieces of this puzzle. It's really like a mechanism from both sides. And that Orchid, you know, you take one cog out of the machine, like the Grimstroke, for example, who has a ton of spells that you need to be able to combo up with the Tusk, the Wraith King, and the Invoker. You just pick him off, all of a sudden, you've got that advantage in the team fights just by silencing someone, never mind killing them. It looks like Inverse just giving up on that top lane now. I
Yeah,
realize
Slaw is
Wraith King can't really stay up there.
Walking around without a quelling blade, so it's gonna be very dangerous when you get that Orchid and you're a support without a quelling blade. What is it? The tree?
Yeah, I was thinking earlier on, I noticed that Alone has denied 2, maybe 3 runes very early on. He just denied an arcane rune there, but I wish there was a chat line that said, like, you know, deny on tower, denied a rune, so we actually knew what the rune was. Well, he really has done a great job shutting down all those active runes early on. Now TP's up towards top. Easy objective. And they're also ready to defend bottom lane if they want to. Tano's in position. The tower is still pretty healthy. It looks like they want to set up for a TP down here.
Yeah, they got
Prophet's
Ravage
TP
ready
in
too.
10 seconds, yeah. And the
Has to be
smoke's going to
Drakeo coming in
break.
first, though.
Miggy's coming in. The snowball not going to... Oh, it does
Nice
actually get in
blast.
there with a punch as well, but Tano, he survived it. Flack's now stuck under the tower. In comes Rises. Drakeo, they're going to slap down onto the Tusk. Don't even need the Prophet to TP in. Don't even need to Ravage either. Tano, yeah, he does die in the very end. Was that an urn
Yeah, about
as well
100
on him?
plus earn. Exactly. He TP'd way too slow. He's like, oh, I'm gonna live. Oh, wait, I'm not gonna live. And
slow
then he
stuck.
just died while TPing. Yep. Sprout. You gotta get that quelling blade, or the Sprout is pretty much a disable at this point.
He's
he
got
just
one.
got one. Yeah, he dies and he just buys one. Okay.
But yeah, that was meant to be a tower for Inverse, and now it's just turned completely around as Rises pops the God Strength. Goes for the tier 1 down bottom. That's going to now finish up the Orchid. What, 11.5 minutes in for this Nature's Prophet.
They also had the Ravage still up, and because of it, Inverse obviously cannot take any fights, and their carry is a Wraith King who needs to farm Radiant's first item. This might have been the game where you want to go armlet, but I think Kara on his apparition is making it really hard for him to be able to buy that first. Because the worst thing that could happen is you go into a fight with your armlet on, they blast you, and you just like instantly lose your reincarnation or something.
As you can't turn it off, you can't toggle it. You're just screwed over.
Radiant's middle tower.
Drakeel with a DD rune now. Maxed out Anchor Smash, Morbid Mask up. Well, he's able to sustain pretty well no matter where he goes on the map. And another game where we see a Tide without a hood.
Radiant's bottom tower.
Seems to be
Yeah,
coming
I think this game,
more and more
there's not
common.
a whole lot of magic damage, right, on Inverse side. It's not like Invoker's going for Exor build as well right here, so I can agree with this.
Radiant's bottom tower.
Oh, TP straight on towards Miggy. Good little Ghost Walk.
Miss the Sprout.
Misses the Sprout. Doesn't even
Yeah.
get dusted at the end. Tano tried it.
Has fallen.
Out of
I'm
range,
fairly
though.
sure Drakeo was in vision when they smoked. So they pretty much saw that coming, and he was able to just bait it out on Miggy.
But look at the pressure onto Parker. Like, Alone is making treants in front of him. He's blocking up camps, making sure that the farm really is limited for this Inverse side. And there's now only one spot to be in. Is that dire triangle.
3,500 gold. I mean, when you normally see players rushing this relic, like, wait.
Radiant
Okay,
are scared.
when you normally see players rushing this relic, you would probably see it up by now. His farm has definitely been slowed down because of these heroes constantly running into his jungle or even taking away their creeps. Look at Sven right now, where he is at. Oh,
Yeah, I mean, they're going to ravage bottom. They're trying to save Tano. The Ice Blast coming in, and Miggy, he's dead. He doesn't
Worth
even
it.
get the kill on Tiny. I thought
Yep.
genuinely that was a kill on Tiny. You run away, but Drakeel is there with that big ravage, and he's chasing it towards Slaw. Ice Shards don't block him away. Gets the TP out, though. Grimstroke out of that.
yeah, they got that Blink Dagger up on Axe too, and they just want to try and make some kind of pressure of their own, running into the enemy jungle. I do like the play from Inverse though, because this did buy Wraith King a little bit more time, making all of EGOBOYS back to their side, plus using that Ravage. But EGOBOYS are not going to be too upset about that, because they're just waiting for their Sven to hit his timings. And they wanted to use the Ravage too. Invoker's a big enough kill for it. It's got Blink now,
Absolutely, yes.
tied 50 gold. So all the items are starting to come online for both teams. The mid game,
Feels like it's much more important, though, for Inverse to, maybe use this Blink on Axe to get a couple of core kills in particular. Yeah,
don't have
like
the
you're saying, you need that
damage,
Wraith King to
like.
farm at the Radiance. Yeah, that's the thing,
How
right?
do they kill him?
This is kind of what I was trying to say with this Orchid taking someone out of the fight. The Inverse side, they need everybody in a team fight, right? They need to chain all their spells just to be able to get a core kill, never mind a proper team fight battle to go their way.
Yeah, I don't think they can smoke gang to Sven. It's pretty much impossible because they don't have vessel charges, and yeah, unless he's like completely isolated and no one's TPing in to help him. Kara, that's a kill you can get though.
Hey, he's a freebie. Dunk down to the ground. I do
So
get
they got
that Wrath
vessel
of
charges
Nature.
now. That's gonna help.
There's no Blink Ravage.
Sprout.
And they missed out on the Sprout, but in comes Rises. Storm Hour onto Flat. He's got no Snowball for 4 seconds, and the Tornado clipping onto Tiny doesn't save him. So the 1-for-1 trade, that still probably favors EGOBOYS, honestly. Ancient Apparition for your Tusk. There is space for Parker. Radiance is now
he's got
coming
the
out on the
Radiance.
Courier.
So it would be nice to see Inverse do something with this Radiance immediately, because if you don't, then the Sven might finish his BKB or NP might get to his BKB. You're going to need to just try and take some engagement right now as you finish his Radiance. Parker has not been able to get involved. Maybe drop some Skelly's bottom and just start running at this mid-tier 1 tower. That might just be the play here for Inverse.
We are starting to see the downside of this Orchid on the Prophet, though, aren't we? You know, with a Maelstrom or a Witchblade, he probably would be top of the net worth or just behind the Sven. It's been a threat out there on the map that's forced Inverse to play a little tighter as they try and kick off a fight with the Ravage bottom. In that jungle with the Avalanche Toss, Miggy and Slaw, they're caught up in the Anchor Smash. Ice Blast flies over the top of them, doesn't really connect properly, but in comes Rises with a God Strength and a huge sword onto Flax's Tusk. A 2-for-1 under that dire vision.
They're going to kite the Goshret, and I think they're just going to go right back into that jungle. So the Radiance does get the kill onto the Tiny. They lose their 2 supports, but that was a Ravage use, Gary. So they can just run right back down mid lane. 2 big spells, Goshret and Ravage on cooldown.
Yeah, and they're not really reliant on that much as Inverse. You got this Berserker's Call and 10-second cooldown. Invoker, Grimstroke, Tusk, all pretty low cooldowns as well. It's just Reincarnation you're playing around primarily as that Wraith King. And Parker is getting bigger and bigger. 8,500 net worth now up on him. So he's going to bring out that Sange pretty soon. I'm still looking at this. Yeah, this Nature's Prophet. Like, sure, he's going to have Orchid BKB, but his process of farming and pushing these lanes, it's dipped, it's slowed a bit in the past couple of minutes. It's like you take all these tier 1 towers and you're kind of going, well, what do I do now? Try and push tier 2s alone?
Oh man, Prophet is one of those heroes where, you know, the whole map is your world. Like, it's so easy to just go anywhere. Oh, middle.
Oh, hello. Yeah, straight onto that side. It's a good Ice Blast, but the dunk from Arzent finishes him off. Rises, dodges the Tornado, but Parker just going to continue frontlining here.
What he's gonna do? Well, he just took a tier 2 tower for free up there.
He did.
I mean, I guess he did lose the Tidehunter, but now he can get the Outpost if he wants to. 17-minute tier 2 tower, that's nice.
And it just felt like he's had a, 5-minute period where he's been a bit tentative with what he's doing. He's not been pushing that far forward until that tier 2 top just now. But it does mean that Inverse get that mid objective themselves.
So the biggest reason why this NP's net worth is not looking as high is probably because Rises, right? He's farming the Ancients, and Alone hasn't been able to farm any set of Ancients at all this game, especially on the Dire team, because Inverse is just kind of occupying that area of the map. So Alone, I understand what you mean. Like, he's playing a lot in the trees, hiding and being a little bit afraid of the Invoker and stuff. Once he gets his BKB though, I think he'll feel much more confident. He's probably just afraid of the axe, because Arzent has been doing a really good job of just staying off the map and farming neutrals off the map when he's got that Blink Dagger up. So you don't want to really be dying to the axe all by yourself as a Nature's Prophet. You are like a pinata. And I do believe Inverse are bringing themselves back into this game really well though. Like, that movement mid, just take that Tide.
Oh, Tano.
Here we go.
Hello.
Ooh, I don't know if you want to go on that one.
Tornado whiffs though as the punch into the back, looking towards Kara. Yeah, Wraith King just going to walk it off at half HP. They do turn towards Flax, though. No snowball remaining. They jump in with a call, though. Rise is caught up in it with a deafening blast push back. The Ice Blast lands on Wraith King and Axe. Tied with a Ravage, held it until that last part of the fight, and they'll slap down that Axe finally. Now with the Gush, the minus armor. The Wraith King just obliterated by that Sven's God Strength.
Who did that call go on?
On the Sven.
And he took no damage, right? Because of the Warcry?
Pretty much.
Yep. I mean, okay, we're gonna see an instant replay right here. So they jumped the Wraith King. Okay, everything looks good, but the toss, he went a little too early, right? You want to bait that Wraith King a little bit more. And here comes the call on. Yeah, there it is. The blame. And look, he's just not. Oh, the deafening blast.
Oh, it disarms him.
Canceled him from attacking. Yeah, for like, I would say 1 hit at best, but still, you can see how the Warcry plus the Sven's God Strength, like attacking the Blade Mail Axe, is not really doing that much damage to himself.
Invoker going for a solo on Kara. Drops the meatball, cold snap. Sunstrike attempted. Doesn't catch, and a Sprout there blocks away the Grimstroke, while that Tornado, yet again, just barely missing. Oh, it's been so difficult for Miggy to get a foothold in this game through, laning stage against Nature's Prophet, rotations failing, the lanes not really being where he wanted them to be. Now, his net worth, that's a real sad story for a mid-invoker. 6,500 at 20 minutes, behind every single other core.
Yeah, and now, I think the most things people are going to be looking at right now is just the Roshan. That triangle play was huge for EGOBOYS, because not only were they able to farm that triangle out too, but take the mid-tier 2 tower. Map control is just shrinking even further. Wraith King has 18 seconds left on this reincarnation. Those look like they want to contest.
Without Ravage for 40 seconds, so you might have that feeling as Inverse that we could go in on this. We could start something off around the Roche pit, but in comes the tiny combo. Blows up Slaw, Tano finds the pick, and now Axe has jumped in. Spent his Berserker's Call and his Blade Mail, and Sven with his God Strength. He's just destroying him. I got Sprout onto the Invoker now, orchid it up. He's going to Ghost Walk and try and ditch, but the Wraith King has been left isolated. The buyback from Grimstroke's coming in. They need to fight around this Wraith King. They've got a good soul buy, silence through, but Miggy's down, and Wraith King, look at him! He just hammered! The Sven BKB's up and you can't touch him. They're going to go hunting for the support. That is a 5-man wipe. The dieback out of the Grimstroke, and Roshan open yet again for EGOBOYS.
Rises on the Sven is just too much. I mean, again, Axe. They go on to Slaw first. He got no spells off. Axe goes in with a 2-man call. Great, right? But the Blade is just not doing any damage to Sven at all. And the Sven just chased him down. He lost maybe, 30% of his health. And doesn't really matter. He's still very healthy. Like 2k HP. Just keeps running into the fights. And just gets blown up. Wraith King can't do anything but try to run away. There's like these 2 cores that you have to worry about on Inverse, and you can't deal with both of them. Axe is like Wraith King goes for the Invoker, the Sven's hitting you for free. You go on the Sven, the Nature's Prophet's hitting you for free. Did I say Invoker's hitting you for free? I meant NP, yeah.
NP's doing it. But yeah, Inverse, it kind of feels like they want really long extended team fights with multiple Invoker cycles of spells, multiple Blink calls from Axe. And EGOBOYS, they're just winning team fights with 1 set of spells. 1 cycle, Ravage, Ice Blast, Tombo. They kill off a couple of heroes, then it's numbers advantage gaming, and they run away with it.
They need to just disarm this Sven, I think. Like, somehow. Invoker Tornado him, Deafening Blast, ignore the Sven altogether. The problem with Arzen right now, he's focusing the Sven. That's what happened in the last 2 team fights.
Yeah.
You actually can't kill him with your Blade Mail. I don't think he realizes that this armor from Warcry is just making it impossible. And the other targets are who you want to get. Delete the Tiny, delete the Apparition. Even the Nature's Prophet is not a bad target to hard commit onto.
Yeah, because you kind of want to kite BKB's kite God
2
Strength.
seconds, Reincarnation.
Oh, God.
Oh, wow.
Parker,
that so
timing. That's upsetting.
Yeah.
And Tiny's still looking for a little bit more. He's got that blink ready in a sec.
Dire's bottom tower.
Can he find the Tusk? He's just going to toss a range creep around.
They can just go high ground here. Looks like 30 seconds on Wraith King. EGOBOYS will assume he will not buy back.
Do you reckon it's worth committing at all as Inverse? Because honestly, it feels like the BKBs, the God Strength, the Ravage, the Ice Blast, these are things that you could, give up a support for, buy back, wait out and kite, and then fight. the way they're going around these fights, they are hard committing into them. And, you know, you're just battering your head against a massive wall of EGOBOYS who are 10k ahead. Maybe I'm making it sound a little bit too simple, but... They'll jump in from Axe. Gonna catch out Rises, but there's the Ravage. They've got no choice but to fight on their doorstep, on that high ground. Miggy down. The double buyback comes out now. So God Strength used up, but they've still got BKBs on EGOBOYS. And Drakeel.
This is it.
They gotta trapped out by the shards. Parker, he's popped the Aegis. He's moved forward, and he's got that halberd to be able to disarm Rises if he does want to try and turn. In comes the Axe again onto the Nature's Prophet. They focus alone. A huge pick-off to gather up as Miggy does get stunned out. Tano with an attempted TP, but the Tornado cancels it last second. And Tiny going to be yet another casualty as EGOBOYS get a barracks. It's the ranged one bottom, but not the melee. Man, even Tiny's taken a million years to kill. Come on, finish him off.
That was 2 buybacks from the position 2 and 3 of Inverse there, but that's the fight that they had to win, right? Just get something. Nature's Prophet skill, that's nice. A little bit of gold going towards their way, but you gotta get more kills right now. Gotta get more timers going. Rises, his caution is on cooldown for 30 more seconds. Let's see what they can do with this.
Oh, Slaw. No. Yeah, you're going to de-ward the area, but it's going to inevitably lead to your death. Even gets the tip from Kara.
Yeah, you know,
play
if
too
you're
far
support
forward.
in those situations, you need to be calling your team to come with you, right? You're like, guys, I'm going to go de-ward here. Please come here. Like, you don't de-ward, especially by running in all by yourself. I've scrimmed against a lot of South American teams, Gary, okay? Well, not a lot, like once a week. With hustlers, and these guys, they're support players, they don't care. Oh, Invoker just dead,
man.
right?
The blow up on
Radiant's
Miggy.
top tower is under
They
attack.
just run in, Gary. They just de-ward. The team is like halfway across the map. They just feed away 1 kill, and then the game, they just lose the game right there like that. In this
you see
situation,
that
obviously,
drawing?
they're already losing, but it doesn't matter. Slaw,
Slaw
oh
dead again.
god, again.
I guarantee you, he's busy drawing on the map and arguing with his team, because he literally just drew a circle around triangle, a line down to where he was trying to ward, and saying, guys, you can't be farming behind me. You've got to push forward. We've
Yeah,
got to take
definitely.
control some part of the map. I think you're absolutely right. I mean, Parker now tossed back into the Sven. The waiting EGOBOYS squad here don't have a Ravage to play around with, and they force out a BKB on the Sven while the Snowball delays that jump in. The Axe with a call onto the Prophet, but alone, he's able to stand his ground now. He's got plate mail, he's got that BKB and a buckler going, and the Ravage finally going to come out to take down Flax, and it all looks over to me.
Yep, he got himself a bunch of armor on alone, realizing blade mail is pretty much the only thing that's actually killing him now. That's it.
Yeah,
All
goes
your
to tier
base
4s.
belongs to us.
Dire's middle barracks.
Somebody set us up the bomb. GG's called.
Dire's
And EGOBOYS with a pretty convincing victory here over Inverse in game 1. I mean, the drafts look pretty solid from both sides, but like laning stage, mid-game decision-making, everything else, EGOBOYS looked just a step ahead of the Inverse boys.
Yeah, I think the Nature's Prophet was the key factor here. Maybe you just had to go Exor build on this Invoker, because he had plenty of stuns, right? You had Call, you had Wraith King stun, you had even Soulbind and Snowball and Shards and stuff. Like, Exor might have done way better against the Invoker just to be able to kill those treants off, have those Force Spirits, but going Quaswax, it just pretty much sealed Inverse's game here. You know, that they were going to lose this because NP constantly shoving in mid lane, never allowing the Invoker to move, and he can always globally TP the NP. So EGOBOYS had that huge advantage just from that mid lane, which kind of made them, I think, win this game.
Yeah, pretty sad when your Invoker has lower net worth on the position for Tiny. I mean, you know, towers and racks falling, of course, lifts his net worth up a bit there.